Hello and welcome to Chick Chat and Chill. So today's episode, we're going to be talking about dealing with loss. Unfortunately, it's something that I hate to say it, but we're all going to go through it. Like they say, death and taxes. And it's something that I just lost three close family members recently. Laura had some devastating losses with her parents, and we'll talk about it after this. So, welcome back. Just before we begin today's topic, just want to let you know my name is Antoinette, and I'm the owner of Pixel This, which is a full-service design firm. So, if your brand is dead, this is another thing that we could help you with your loss and revive it. Unlike, I'm making light of the subject, but seriously, there are some things that I see that really look like some resuscitation is needed. So if that sounds like you, definitely give me a call and let me know, and I'm happy to help out. So first, before we begin, I got to introduce Laura.
Hi, I'm Lora Fickett. I am the owner of Fickett Financial Education and Business Coaching, where I love to help people make more money, manage it better, and retain it to build their wealth. And when people pass away, that is a really financially significant event in your life. And so if anybody's going through that, I do free consultations for individuals and business owners. I'm always happy to help. I've been in the finance industry my entire life. I'm a CPA. I'm an MBA. I worked in public accounting, and then I went and started my own firm to coach and help individuals like you. So we're going to talk about loss today and how to deal with loss. And every single loss is completely different. That's what I want everybody to understand. So when somebody comes up to you and they're like, oh, I know how you feel, they don't. Yeah. They don't. Like every single one is different, because just because I've lost my parents and somebody else loses their mother, I can say like, oh, I know what it's like to lose a mother. Well, my relationship with my mother was completely different than their relationship with their mother. Maybe they were estranged from their mother and I was close with my mother, or like my mother and I had a unique relationship. And so how would I know how they're feeling with their loss versus how I'm feeling with my loss? So that's the first thing right off the bat. When somebody says like, I know how you feel. No, they don't. Nobody knows how you feel. Everybody feels completely different when it happens, whether it's sudden or whether it's a long-term illness. Every single one is unique and individual. But there are some core things I think that, Antoinette and I can probably agree on in our losses that have helped versus, the people just don't know what to say.
Yeah.
I think they just say stupid stuff.
Yeah. Well, I think some people try to relate with you, or they think they're being empathetic, and it's like trivializing what you're going through. Or there's so many people that, unfortunately, I've seen it and heard it done so many times. They're like, oh, or you should move on, or it's time to get over that, or they're like, kind of like you said, oh, I know what you're going through. And like you said, they really don't. And, or they'll be like, oh, I had a near death, my fiance almost died and it was with 9/11. It's different. It's a totally different situation. So when it's happening to you, I think it's really easy to hear what other people are saying at you and then make it feel like, oh my God, am I grieving too long? Am I
not grieving enough?
Am I not grieving enough? And I think you can't, everybody grieves differently. And I know I've had, in a year and a half, I had a brother die, 3 months later, another brother die, and then a year and a little bit, my father died. So within those, everyone was so different.
All the men in your family.
Yeah, literally, it was so different. And it was one of those that I remember one day I was really, really upset. And then my mom, she's a little more stoic. I'm more of I wear my heart on my sleeve. I couldn't play poker. I mean, even if I walk in a place, people are like, oh, so you didn't sleep last night. It's very obvious, But
I did play poker with her on a cruise. She didn't play well. I'm just going to say it right there.
I did lose too much, but yeah. But I remember I was going through, I was crying, and I'll have bouts where I'm fine and I'm laughing and then I'm crying. And I remember my mom saw me at this particular hard time where I was just crying and I was just thinking about something. And she's like, oh, wow, you're taking this hard. And I'm like, well, it was my brother, your son.
Yeah.
And it was just one of those that I didn't mean to make her like feel guilty for not grieving in the same way I am, but the point is it hits everybody differently and at different times. Like sometimes it you might be in shock for literally like a month, and then all of a sudden, months and months go by, and then it just literally hits you hard one day where you're like a sniveling, snotty mess on your bathroom floor, like, why?
And your mother was a prisoner of war, so she saw a lot of
Lot.
death
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
destruction. And so in comparison in her life, you could see why maybe she was like, wow, this is just what happens. Like
Yeah.
for you, you're like, this is one of the most soul crushing things that's ever happened to me.
Yeah.
So everybody is completely different. So I don't think there's a right way or a wrong way to grieve. I want to just put that out there. If you're in the grocery store and then you pick up a banana or a piece of broccoli and you start to cry, it's fine. Like it's completely fine. Other people might look at you like you're a lunatic because they don't know what's going on, but it's okay. Like, it's okay. Just let it out. Cry. You don't have to like go cry in the shower, which I don't know why that's like a favorite place to cry. I think because like the tears and then you just wash them.
Away.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Cool, but, you don't have to, cry, but also just understand that people are trying to help. When they say those silly things that don't help, they're trying to help. Like, or the whole, like, everybody says like, I'm sorry for your loss and I do it too. But I don't, people just don't know what else to say.
Yeah.
They're sorry that you lost somebody and that you're hurting.
Yeah.
Right. And that's a truthful statement. Like if anybody is upset over death or loss, like I'm truly sorry that they're hurting. I try to like logically, I think to myself, oh my gosh, like I think about my parents. They're so much better off than me, right? This earth, I feel, is run by maybe some demonic forces at times, especially, right? I hit like every red light on the way here today. So I think like they don't hit red lights anymore. They don't have people cutting them off on the road. They don't have any more pain in their body. They get to spend the rest of their life with Jesus, like their eternal life with Jesus. They're probably looking down on me like, oh, she's crying. Isn't that cute? Like, just suffer for a little more, honey, until you get back up here to heaven. Like, you know what I mean? Like, so they're probably like super happy where they are. And we're the ones that are having the soul crushing moments. And really, like, life is fleeting. I mean, talk to any 89-year-old. They're like, wow, in the blink of an eye, my life has gone by.
Yeah.
Ooh, it's like a rhyme. But so, I mean, dealing with loss of people in your life, it's unfortunately going to happen because what's the alternative? Is that you didn't get close enough to anybody to be hurt?
Yeah.
Then what's the point of your life?
Yeah, that's terrible.
Yeah. What was the point?
The other thing is, too, I think what a lot of people do is they try to suppress it. You know what I mean? Where like something happens and maybe, I don't know, I'm giving a random example. Let's say you're a mom and your husband dies tragically and you're dealing with little kids. So you just want to put on a happy face for the kids and inside you're dying. So I understand the point of it, but I think what's going to make the process easier is if you don't push back your emotions and you actually allow yourself to feel them. And that doesn't mean like, there are times where maybe you have to kind of just, wipe your tears and put on a happy face, but then take time later that day to, I don't know, write a letter to them or journal or do something or pray, like those things that you need, but to always suppress the feelings isn't doing anyone any favors at all.
No, I really think therapy or like writing a letter, because I think a lot of times, no matter what your relationship with anybody was, I think when somebody passes away, even if it's not sudden, there are still always things left unsaid.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? There's just things that even if they stayed alive for 10 more years, you wouldn't say to them, but you want to say to them. So I think writing a letter is very therapeutic. And you can say like, I'm sorry that you like, I can't believe you left me here. Like you could just throw it all out there, then burn the letter if you don't want anybody else to read it, you know? But I think, and talking to a therapist or a trusted friend, I think is really important to get it out, because there are times when you have to put a pin in it, right? I mean, you go to work, like you can't be like crying in front of a client or a potential client. I mean, you just have to go into like robot or survival mode, but you can't just keep shoving it down forever. I mean, And it's okay for your kids to see those emotions.
Yeah.
It's really, if you have to make dinner while you're crying and your kids ask you, like, why are you crying? Then, it's good for you to say, I feel sad that, daddy's gone or whatever.
Yeah.
I remember the first time I ever saw my father cry, we were leaving Italy and he was saying goodbye to his brother and he started crying. And my father was a big man. He was a stonemason. He could crush a walnut with his hand, not two together, one. He was strong and, he was just like a pillar. And to see him cry, I was like, oh my God, I was thinking, what's the matter? The world must be imploding. And we get on the plane and I said to him, I'm like, Dad, why are you crying? And he's like, I never know if I'm going to see my brother again. And so it's really upsetting. And I remember that moment. And unfortunately, the next year, my father passed away and he never did get to see his brother again.
Wow.
And so I think to myself, he let out that emotion. He shared it with me. He didn't just say oh, it's nothing or I'm fine. No, he actually told me exactly why he was crying. He was a pretty straightforward guy.
Yeah.
So that's what, I think that's good advice. You just say that to you. If somebody says why are you crying? I said it to my husband the other day. He said, why are you crying? I said, I don't know. I really didn't know. There was a lot of transition in my life. One of my daughters graduated, another one moved and was starting a new job, and my son was starting middle school, all at the same time, almost within the same 3 days, And so I was just crying, and my husband's like, why are you crying? And I'm like, I don't know. Jack, just be honest.
Yeah.
I said, I really don't know. I think I've been holding back all these emotions, doing things for the past couple of weeks, and now it's just decided to come out all at once for it seemed like an hour. I feel bad for the poor guy. He had to sit on the couch with me and, it's okay, honey. This is fine.
The other thing is what comes to mind is a story. So I knew this girl who worked with my ex, and she was pregnant. Her and her it was their first baby, and they lived literally across the street from the hospital, across the street. And all of a sudden, she just felt like something was weird with the baby. She's like, it doesn't feel right, whatever. She went over to the hospital, and they're like, no, you're fine. Go back home. And then again, an hour later, she's like, no, something's really wrong. She went over there. So lo and behold, finally, it was at night, she goes there, turns out, she was 9 months. I mean, she was ready to so turns out something did really go wrong with the baby, and she lost the baby.
I did not like how this story was going.
And the nurse said to her, you should have, the minute you felt something wrong, you should have come over. We could have saved the baby. And she's like, I did, and she goes, and I got pushed away 3 times. And then what killed me is she was saying how, they finally got over that, grieved, and then finally decided to have a second child. And someone came up to her and felt her baby bump and went, oh, try not to kill this one.
What?
And I was like, are you
deserves a throat punch.
Point them out, and I'm literally going to take them out.
Oh my gosh.
But again, you have to be really, I bring it up because I think it needs to be noted for 2 things. If somebody says something very inappropriate to you while you're grieving and something like that, you're in every right to just tell them that was mean. You know what I mean? Don't keep that inside. Don't, whatever. Just
don't resort to the physical violence that you want to perform.
But if you did, that's okay. That's let it out. Let it out.
I think it's assault. I think it's assault.
And then on the opposite side, if you're one of those people that don't know what to say in that type of situation,
shut your mouth.
Oh my Lord.
For the love
of God. Yeah.
Shut your mouth.
But how terrible.
I don't know. People, like I said, people say the stupidest things. My father died when I was 14 years old in a car accident, and I've told you this. And my mother passed away just a couple of years ago in her 80s. And people have said to me, which is worse, someone dying of old age or a sudden death in a car accident? And I'm like, they're both horrific in their own unique way. That's just I don't know. Keep some of those stupid thoughts to yourself. When somebody is grieving, think about them.
Yeah.
Not you. and think about the intrusive thoughts that come in your head. That's advice for people out there trying to console others. Some of your words are not consoling.
No.
Like that one, what? Why would you say that?
I
Like,
don't know.
oh
And
my
again,
gosh.
her whole thought was probably like, oh, hope, wishing this new baby well, but that's not how you say it, And
My
just,
mind is like, did she do a lawsuit? Like,
I mean, it was just terrible, like absolutely terrible. But the other,
losing a child is,
I don't
it's
think any
not-
parent should go through that. That's like devastating. But then the other thing is, I do want to kind of mention this too, like in the grieving process. So sometimes you'll have, let's say, a parent that does lose a child, and maybe it was tragic. Like maybe you think they were kidnapped and killed or something. You don't know what's going on. The police haven't found it. But like, let's say it's something ridiculously tragic. But then every time that you come in contact with anybody, you just talk about your son or your daughter, and it's like 1 year and 2 years and 5 years and 10 years. And I'm not saying I'm not saying like there's a what do you call it? A timeline that's supposed to be followed, but if it's to the point where your friends are just tired of always hearing negative, because people will do, like, literally friends are like, I can't hear about your dead daughter or like again, like it's been, it's time to reach out and get help. I'm giving that as one example.
'Cause you're stuck in a loop.
You're stuck in a loop, and I think that happens to a lot of people, especially like one of my brothers, I think, died in a very in a tragic way that it just was heart-wrenching to me. And I kept playing it through my head like, you can't change what was done. No matter how many times I think about it, it just made me sad, and it's never going to change the outcome. So you have to, at some point, like, realize that and just start processing, like, now I like thinking about the goofy things that made me smile. Like, even if it's something silly that at the time angered me, like, oh, he did this, and I remember I got all upset. Now that makes me happy. Like, I'm just like, oh, I can't believe, that he said that.
How goofy. Yeah.
Yeah. So it's one of those, but you do have to recognize in yourself in the grief process, at what point is it
Detrimental.
it's detrimental to your relationships, your health, your work, and
it's not what the loved one would want for you.
No.
Yeah, for
no,
sure.
No, not at all.
I would not want anybody to waste time on this short span of existence, like stuck, or I wouldn't want like my husband or my children to, grieve. I mean, I do want them to be emotional. Something happens to me. Show a little bit of love. I just don't want it to ruin their lives. I don't want it to ruin their lives. Like, I just don't want that, right?
Yeah.
Because I think I will be happier. So, like, don't ruin your life over the fact that I'm happier. And I also think, like, if you have questions that you want answered that nobody on this planet can answer for you, then ask God. Like, say why God did this person do this, or why were they taken so soon, or develop your relationship with God, and he's the only one that can give you the answers. I was actually just reading Kings yesterday, and in the Bible, and it talked about how the northern kings they're horrible throughout the Bible, and some of the southern kings were good, but then there was this one instance of where I forget the names, apologize, but he's going to rebuild the city, and there was a curse on the city that whoever rebuilt it, like their oldest son and their youngest, would die. So the oldest and the youngest did die, and it talks about how basically, like, God took those children. The person that was still alive, the father, was obviously probably hurt and distraught and whatever, but God took them into heaven, and so the kids are fine. Like, the kids were fine.
Yeah.
And so there's plenty of instances in the Bible where, like, it talks about, that they went to be home with the Lord, and what, like, the people that leave, they're fine. Like, so there is a certain amount of time, like, where if you're in a loop, or you're in a destructive loop and you're spiraling down, you have to, like, check yourself and be like, is this what mom or grandma or Joe or whoever would want for me? Like, no, they don't. I am almost 100% positive that your loved one does not want your life destruction over their death.
Yeah.
Okay.
And I know in my family, so like when we get, if someone in my, a cousin or an uncle or whatever end up passing away and they have services for them, I know just like my family in general, they're just happy go lucky people. So that never fail, like, they'll have a wake or whatever they do. And we're just like a happy bunch. So if you walk into the wake, like normally it's somber and people are crying, like you do have some people, crying when you walk in, but within a couple minutes, like people are like laughing and that like it's a celebration of their life. And that's kind of how I see a lot of these things go. So rather than just like boo-hoo, we're like, remember the time that he did this and, and so-and-so, got all mad and came running down the stairs. And it's funny. And then
Yeah.
at some point during the service, there comes a point where like the priest or whoever's going to come in to do a prayer and they're like, quiet, quiet. And we're so loud and rowdy. They're like, I've never had a hush a funeral. They're like, this is bizarre. But that's just something like I remember when my grandfather died at the cemetery, we broke out into football and one of my brothers broke his collarbone.
Oh my
Like
goodness.
I think he tripped over like a tombstone.
Oh,
It was like
like that's a little disrespectful, but okay.
But it was one of like it was just, in the end that's just getting together with other people who loved him or her just as much as you did or has these, it's different to if a coworker dies versus, a brother or sister that you have a whole massive amount of history and you kind of know them. You just don't know them in their work face or, the good, bad, and ugly. So when you get together with people that have that same, vantage point of that particular person, it's a lot easier to have those moments of joy and laughter and not
I
just.
think it's so unusual too, though, that people get together for these services, and then everybody says like, "Oh my gosh, we should do this more often," and then they just don't.
Yeah.
Right? Like that's a very difficult thing. If you're the person that's like, in the receiving line because you're so close to the person that's in the casket or that's been cremated or whatever, and people are like, "Oh, we should get together more often," or like we don't see each other enough. We shouldn't just see each other
Should be
at
on happier
funerals and
occasions.
like, yeah, on happy occasions and stuff like that. Just know that when everything is over, you're going to go home and you're going to be forever changed. And all of those people are going to go back to their normal life. And it's going to be like a very weird feeling for you. And people say those things, but chances are like they're not going to get together like until somebody else dies or there's a wedding. Like it's, I don't know. It's just like such a bizarre thing. I wish that like, I remember when my husband's father passed away, like I got to meet some of his family that I had never met before, like really nice people. Like it was great. And I wish that he stayed in contact with them and I wish we saw them again, but we haven't seen them since then. It just, I don't know what happens. And I remember like after my father died, I had to go back to school and everybody else seemed exactly the same as like 2 weeks before, except
Yeah.
me.
And you feel like totally changed, forever changed.
I feel like completely different. So that's a completely normal feeling. If you're out there experiencing loss and that's how you feel, I mean, you have changed.
Yeah.
Like you are fundamentally different. And my husband thinks like I overthink things too. I think that's a problem in general. I don't know if it's for women or men or for everybody, but I do overthink like the finality of it all. Like I'm never going to get to see them again. Like and that sends me into like a deep, dark spiral.
Yeah.
But I mean, I don't know. The tough times don't last. Like I've had horrible experiences in my life and I'm happy with where I am today. And so they didn't last. So whatever you're going through, every day is different. Don't like do anything you can't reverse. Like next year will be different and the year after will be different. And just be hopeful that, even when there's cloudy skies, the sun's going to come out sometime.
Yeah. Yeah. And I know like even for me, like this Friday would have been my dad's birthday. So I'm like I just said it. I'm like, but there are times where all of a sudden you'll think of a date or someone will say a phrase or something and all of a sudden just hits you. But the thing is, I know like when one of my brothers died at the time of his death, we had a terrible relationship. I mean, terrible. Um, and I think all too often people kind of like what you were saying before, where they're like, oh, I wish I could have or said, or, all that stuff. And like, if you asked me, 5 years ago, if your brother died tomorrow, would you like regret how the relationship is? I'd be like, of course. But actually, I don't. You know what I mean? Like, we ended on a bad note, but whatever. We had plenty of good notes. However it ends, or if the last thing you said was something bad, or the last thing you had was a fight, or whatever, like,
They don't remember it.
No.
So you shouldn't be carrying it either.
No. And it's just one of those that I think, like, the thing with my brother, it's like, well, it's unfortunate that we didn't have, the best relationship up until the last days, but it is what it is. Again, me thinking and dwelling and, it's not changing it. It's
No,
not.
yeah.
And it's silly. I mean, the only time that I would say that it really, really hit me hard is I had this guy that I work with that was, we were really, really close, and we made plans to get together, and I knew he had a crush on me that was romantic in nature, and I didn't feel the same way towards him. And I ended up like canceling getting together, and I was just like, no. And part of it is because I was opposed to him having those feelings towards me.
Mm-hmm.
So I just canceled it. I was a snot on the phone to him. And he ended up hanging up the phone, and then he had this bar he went to. He wasn't a big drinker, but it was kind of like a Cheers where all his friends were there. He walked in, it was like, Gary, like I don't even think he drank, but he would eat dinner there every night. All his friends were there. And that night he went there. He's like, I'm just so, so sad. Like, my heart literally hurts. And he died of a heart attack that night. And I felt so responsible. I still feel responsible for that, because I don't know if I just was nicer, or we ended up,
Yeah, I'm sure all of the cholesterol that was built up in his arteries would have just dissipated.
No, but it's
just kidding.
No, but it is one of those things. Like, you can die of a broken heart. You can die of some of these things. And I think like one of my brothers died of a broken heart. So it was just one of those that it's so hard to not get emotional thinking about circumstances. But again, I wouldn't dwell in that. You know what I mean? It's okay to accept it, think it, process it, but then move on, And
I know we're closing on time, but I do want to say this. Like, I do think that a lot of times people separate themselves from God when loss happens because they blame him for whatever. My father died in a car accident. It's not, can God intercept everything? Yes, he can, but he also gave us free will and all kinds of other stuff. Like, cars are dangerous. It is what it is. There's a lot of people, I'm sure everybody that's listening right now has either been in a car accident or knows somebody's been in a car accident, right? Yeah. Some of them just aren't fatal, and some of them are. And but I think that it's really an opportunity to deepen your relationship with God, because he can make you feel better, and he can help you if you want to repent on a relationship, and he can help like absolve you of the pain and all of those things. So I really, really encourage people to not blame and get angry in that direction, and to really deepen the relationship and not walk away from the relationship, because he really is just a fantastic God to just love us when we're horrible. As a general population, we're like horrible people.
Yeah.
Like, I just
like he gives us these 10 commandments that on paper are like, okay, don't kill, don't do that, and you're like, of course not. And then we like there's things like everyone commits all these terrible things on there.
The whole Old Testament. I'm just like, what is wrong with you people worshiping a cow? Like, what is I don't even understand.
I don't know.
It's pretty specific. Don't, but you do. Like, but in your times of need, like there's that footprints in the sand poem and whatever. In your times of need, he really will carry you.
Yeah.
If you let him. Yeah. If not, you're crawling on your knees across the sand by yourself.
Yeah.
And it makes it far worse than it has to be. So we got to close things out.
I know. But I hope at least what we said helped a little bit. And it,
I think it's important for people to see, like, we're both positive. We try to be very happy people and put things into perspective, but we've had some horrible things happen to us too. And we've tried to, reconcile them and move on in a positive, like, happy
Yeah.
way.
I mean, I've had people come up to me and they'll just say, because I'm always like happy go lucky, and they're like, well, nothing ever bad happens to you. And I was like, what? Like, let's just circle back this year. And I literally named.
No, it's every year, right?
I mean, that's just my life. Everyone's like, write a book. But it's like, it's one of those that I have these catastrophes one after the other. But, in the end, like, you own your happiness. The minute I realize like happiness is a choice, you know what I mean? Everything else is just stuff. And I'm not just saying the loss of someone you love is stuff, but you know what? It happens.
It's going to happen, and it's going to happen.
And it's going to happen to me one day. Like, it's going to happen to us all. And,
well, I'm going to be raptured.
But we'll meet up in, heaven and get to see these people again and, under happier times and whatever.
Right.
So... yeah, but until then,
we got to close now. What's the next topic?
So the next topic is talking in public, which I think is super cool. Me and Laura don't struggle with this.
No.
At all.
I remember we were in a networking event together and somebody said, like, who here doesn't stress about speaking in public? And Antoinette and I raised our hands, and he's like, and if you raise your hand, you're a liar. And I'm like,
no.
What? I don't stress about it at all.
I don't either. I actually like it. I'll like if somebody said you could go up and like give a speech or talk every day of my life, I'd be like, cool.
That's her next career. So we're going to talk about that because some people do feel like that is more stressful than death. Yeah. Which is crazy.
Yeah, it is.
So until we talk about that topic, stay tuned for that one and try to enjoy your life and never stop learning.
And never stop laughing. We'll see you soon. I thought you were...
Things are truly better with us.
I taught you or something. I thought there was going to be more of a...
Well, you were having a lot of moments.